I believe this is it, Dr. Scythe's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too. It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you become, Miss Susato. You could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. What's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in here. Oh, yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes? Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing? It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air? You'd either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's desk? I would not like to work in a place like this. It's very tidy though, isn't it? Imagine how efficiently she must work. The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves. Well, yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose. I can just about cope with the one-eyed Daruma doll watching over me, but that's it. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished on to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside? Miss Susato, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. Look at this big, thick book here. Oh, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? That must be work. They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances, and scalpel blades can be sharpened too. It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month? What could they possibly be using them all for? What are you doing? Whoa. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... So you thought you'd snoop around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want? Oh, Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Ostman's body, I mean. So we came to ask you about your findings on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odie Osmond, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and Mr. Osmond, who appeared moments later, partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. But that can't be right. If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly, in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident. Oh, fingerprints. They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Will you name Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Nautical, though you're as pale as a corpse. Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean, it's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. What's with the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine, the gentlewoman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi, get over here, Gina. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy, probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along. Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working with the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France, it's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, sunshine. Now don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'd become of her? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands in people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least. Oi, did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right. Well, any questions about the scene, you can put him in my capable detective diva here. Or whatever. Alright, you are the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely, but it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Oh, yes, Toby. The machine that exploded must be at the top of these stairs, I presume? Haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Ow. It's like I told Odo yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something? The Forensic Investigation Team? Is that what you're thinking of? That's the one, yeah. But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something. I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps? That's the one. Yeah, apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh, you what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him. He waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah? Honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. It was great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Odo's made things hard for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. but watching someone else get it in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yeah, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for, sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other cove, ain't he? And in time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber. That's the one, yeah. So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says it's giving him a gut ache. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they had any luck. He's really funny looking. Got two eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, that scowlish reaper what's always glugging down glasses of that blood-red plum. Oh, Lord Van Sykes. He's always at it in for me, that cove. Don't know what he's always scowling about, mine. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-glugging demigod, you're equally bad off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer, but there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all? Where did you find the little mutt then, Gina? Oi, don't be so flaming rude, Odo. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright. Toby's... how do they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Sorry? I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. That's nothing compared to this little fella. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, once Toby Ears got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase the scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Odo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in the future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days they'll be barking orders at us a lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. I found him down in the East End the other day. Someone had chunked him out on the street. There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. Oh my, so this is the machine. That was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrain went in order to obtain the research grant. No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing, though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair. So very British. You're right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh, look, is that Lord Van Zykes? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Miss Susato? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything. From the top? You mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel grinders are buckled and twisted in the blast. And what they call the birdcage was right in the middle of it all just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? Oh, isn't it exhilarating? All this different architecture from all corners of the world. It does make you feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention, personally. It is very subjective, isn't it? Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation, and I've realized that British buildings being made from brick and stone are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel. Oh yes, I do agree with you there. But I can't help wondering what an onion does for the roof of a building. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions. You really let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrain said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back to here when they finished their work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. Nope, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Oh, look here, Miss Susato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height? Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down to the crystal tower below. A fall about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. Wait, but if it's like chipped and broken on the bottom, wouldn't that mean he was facing the other way when it fell? So he didn't like hit it head first. This dark smudge here, I think perhaps it's machine oil. Well, yes, possibly. Professor Harebrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right, but more importantly, it's more fragrant than the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's because there's such a tiny amount on here. I hear that a ride on the Ferris wheel is a favorite romantic outing for young London couples. I think the romance would be slightly spoiled by the subject terror personally, but then I'm not a Londoner. Are you a little scared of heights? It's not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer. Well, perhaps I shall have to ask Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me on it in that case. When you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try. Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it? Ugh, least approachable man in the world, winner 10 years in a row. Be strong. Your country and your assistant stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zykes? What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask him. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away. You won't know unless you try. So, Clint was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zykes. You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So you've been investigating me, have you? Oh no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zykes family, but tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry, there's more to it then? Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. And are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zykes, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussbell's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month, I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom. A particular waxwork? Which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Harebrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight, white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, she really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Though it appears he already had a black monocle at the time. This is 10 years ago. Like, he didn't change his look after 10 years? What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Van Zykes? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Are you alright? Who is this? Lord Van Zykes' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato can see it too. Lord Van Zykes, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Oh my god, Kazuma. Kazuma? I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure, as if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait. Too late. What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia? Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant, on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yeah, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Susato called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma. You'd already met the masked man, didn't you? Yeah, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zykes' office. I see. And if Kazuma really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Okay. Let's go.